Welcome back, Inebri-arts. This is Andy, the Inebri-art podcast, and I am once again recording from the comfort of my home. We have with us today, all the way from Portugal, so this is kind of exciting, Berri Blue,
Yeah.
a visual artist and a street artist. So the thing that I am curious most about is how is street art looked upon in Portugal? Because here it's more, under the, shadow of night and people have to run and jump fences. And is it more accepted
You
there?
know, yeah, to be honest, it's an interesting thing. I mean, yeah, it's pretty accepted. And I do, sometimes I do it during the day even. And I think it's, as long as it's nice and you're not kind of damaging anybody's property too much, it's kind of accepted. And what's very interesting is the city council kind of decides what to paint over
Mm-hmm.
and what to leave. And if they like you and they like, you get like street cred with the city council guys, with the paintbrush. They leave your work,
Oh,
and
really?
they sometimes it's like up for like a year and a half until it like physically falls off the wall itself, which is really nice. So it seems to be very personal over here. Like people either like it or not like it, and then yeah. But there is it doesn't seem to have this kind of badass thing of being illegal, although technically it is absolutely illegal.
Yeah.
It's just socially there isn't this kind of I don't know thing around it of it being.
I
It's kind of
feel like
easygoing. Portugal's like that.
I feel like we're getting more, at least in my town, we're getting more into that kind of thing. But it's more the town will designate, okay, this area is going to be painted, and then there's a whole process where they find someone and get approval of what they're working on. So it's still very
Yeah.
legislated, I guess is the best word, but it's they're getting there. They're opening up to public art.
Yeah. No, it's in Ireland, because I grew up in Ireland and I went to college in Ireland, even though I'm Polish. But in Ireland, it's a very different attitude. And when I was doing street art in Ireland, in Dublin, it was very much, it gets removed quite quickly, and the street art you do see, it's mostly the kind of commission stuff.
Yeah.
So it is much more kind of, yeah, it's a different vibe. But over here, you can just kind of do what you want, and if people like it, you're grand. You don't get in trouble.
How did you get into it? Was it kind of like a rebellious kind of teenage thing?
No, I was never a rebellious teenager. It's just a long story. I think I'm more rebellious now than I ever was. But I got into it in college, second year of college.
Mm-hmm.
My boyfriend at the time, now my husband, was doing street art, but kind of like small. He had a stencil called Little Man, and he would like put it all over Dublin, and he got into like street art books, and he did kind of okay of it, and it was like an exciting project. And at the time I was doing a lot of drawing, but quite like classical illustration type things. And he
Yeah.
said, why don't you just like photocopy some and just stick them up? And I did, and then I started really enjoying it and like gained a lot of recognition because it was kind of classical stuff on the walls. It was like a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into a few books, like street art books and different like stuff. And that's why. And that was years ago.
Yeah.
That was like, I don't know, 9 years ago or something. It's just crazy to think how long I've been doing it. But now I do completely different stuff. It's just changed. I do massive paintings and
what
murals.
is it that you think kind of changed the art world look on street art in general? Because now it's like borderline trendy.
What, street art?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. It was always trendy. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Back in the day, it was more people just spray painting their name and not to throw shade on them.
Tagging,
yeah.
I suppose. No, I know, you're right. I suppose with like Banksy and everything. And yeah, but I think there's always kind of a cool edge to it because of it being illegal. But I don't know. You see, what I do is kind of different in a way because I'm very much a studio artist.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do like painting, and then I just physically put them on the walls. So it's like fine art on the walls. So yeah, I really don't know how it changed. I don't know.
And you said initially that you would make copies of things and put them up. Is that still kind of how you do it? Do you?
No,
it's
so
like
what?
a paste kind of thing, or?
Oh yeah, well, I make my own glue out of
Yeah.
flour and water and a bit of sugar. But I paint on brown paper, like large scale brown paper,
Yep.
um, and just roll them up and put them with a big brush in a bucket. I make like 10 liters of glue, and I just go and put them up on the street. Sometimes I measure walls. There's few walls up in Porto that are kind of my favorite walls, and they're usually like 2 by 3 meters. I just measure them, paint the thing in my studio, and pop it up. Yeah, but I don't photocopy anything anymore. It's all one-offs. That's the
Yeah.
thing. So when they're gone, I kind of get upset. Not upset, but they're gone. But
Right.
yeah, but they're all like individual paintings. Yeah.
So where do you kind of start your process? Do you kind of look at the wall and that kind of give you inspiration of what to paint, or do you have an idea of what to paint and then find a wall for it? Like,
Usually it's the painting that comes first. I mean, there's particular places that I kind of do, plan things for, but generally I'm a really chaotic person. Take, I just kind of make a mess, and then I usually kind of don't do anything for like a few weeks, and then I produce like crazy amounts of work in 2 days, just staying up. I'm really not organized. So yeah, it's all kind of impulsive, and I don't plan much now. Yeah, I really don't. It's not my. That's why college was not good environment for me, because everything had to be explained and planned, and I would just get glue everywhere, and yeah, I was just not one of those. Yeah, I was one of those children, the ones with like sticks and pockets. And yeah, it's not
yeah,
not academic. I'm really not academic.
I struggled in school. I would always focus on like one project and it become like everything that I kind of
Yes,
thought about. And then you'd be like, great.
because you find it exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you'd be like, ooh, I have 3 more projects due tomorrow.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
That was my essays for college,
Yeah.
which is just like overnight, crying at 5 a.m, biting my nails. Yeah, I'm really
um,
dyslexic as well.
yeah, I think I am. I grew up in the mid to late 70s and early 80s, so I feel like I have undiagnosed. Well, I've talked to a lot of dyslexic people, and they're like, "Yeah, you're totally dyslexic,"
Yeah,
but it wasn't quite diagnosed the
not
same
a
back then.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were
No,
just
growing up, it took a while to be diagnosed as well, because it was just not that, like being now you get diagnosed really quickly. But I
mm,
remember I had to be kind of a teenager when it was kind of acknowledged. And I misspell my own name, like it's ridiculous. Like I just can't, and I read really slowly as well.
yeah. I
It's
read
pretty.
slowly, and there's certain words that I just can't identify if they're spelled correctly or not.
I know, enough is the word for me that I cannot ever spell. I can look at it and I just cannot. I cannot. It looks wrong, and I cannot ever. And I
Yeah,
try memorizing spelling it. Just can't. It doesn't stick.
yeah.
It's terrifying.
Mine's receive. I can't spell receive to save my life.
Really.
To the
Yeah.
point where I will spell it correctly. I'll look at it and go, no, that's wrong, because I
Oh,
always
that's
spell it
wrong.
wrong, and I'll go back and I'll change it, and then it's wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you'd think you'd figure it out eventually, but I can't do it.
Nope. I know. It's really embarrassing in some situations, but
Oh, yeah.
it's grand, it's grand. Just
Do
learn to live with it.
you think that's why you went towards art, because it's easier to communicate visually?
Um, yes, I mean, I don't think I ever. My mum. I was an only child. I'm an only child of an artist. My mum was an artist, is an artist. So I kind of grew up, just the two of us, kind of being around her art. So I think I never had the choice. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was always going to be the way. Although she always said to, maybe pursue something safer. She's like, at least do graphic design, or like, yeah. But so yeah, I think, and plus my mind structure is not just the environment. I think like I'm very much geared up that way. Like even like in school doing notes, I would draw little pictures to memorize the notes as opposed to writing down the notes, because otherwise it wouldn't stick. So I think I'm just very visual generally. But
Yeah.
but the environment was the main cause of
My
my life
I think
choices.
my note taking in school, because I have a pretty good memory except for names, and I think it was my way of coping with that where if I wrote it down and took the note, I would never go back and read the notes, usually because I couldn't because my handwriting's so bad.
Oh my God, my handwriting. No, it looks like spilled noodles. Like like it literally, like I just cannot read it back. It's just
Yeah.
nonsense. Yeah,
Well, I
and
think
I get so
it's my way
frustrated.
of hiding that I can't spell.
Yes, it's
You know,
interesting. Yeah.
um, but yeah, I've had people bring stuff to me that I've handwritten and been like, I don't understand what this says, and you look at it and you go, I don't know either.
Yeah. No,
um,
no.
so I think that's
But yeah,
interesting, finding a different way to take notes and because yeah, it was definitely in school. Like I would take notes because you were almost required to, but I felt like
yeah.
if I wrote it down, it usually cemented it in my memory where I could usually recall it.
Yeah, it's really sad because like the school system, I had a really shit time in school, but it's just not geared up for people like that. And I know a lot of people who have like dyslexia or just like think differently, and like it's just the system's really not good for those kind of people. I had a bad
It's
time in school.
yeah, it's very interesting now. I don't know how it is over there. Here, we're always cutting kind of the creative side of school. Music
Yeah,
programs are getting hard, art programs are getting hard. But conversely, my daughter is in high school now, and she has gone to a vocational school, and they have a whole arts program. So she's in like their graphic design.
great.
Yeah, she's in their
That's so
graphic design
cool.
program. She loves it. I mean, it lets her be creative, but it still gives her, the school structure, and she still has to take,
Yeah, yeah,
math and English and whatnot. I'm kind of jealous because I feel like I would have
yeah.
done
That's so
exactly that same
cool.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's really nice. That's really cool. Yeah, because it teaches you a different way of kind of thinking and stuff. Um, no, that's really interesting.
yeah, and I think it
Cool.
gives those kids that have that need to kind of express themselves.
Explore that
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Yeah. Because like the visual language is so interesting. Like I remember learning semiotics in like college and stuff, and it's stuff you wouldn't like think about. And then once you do, you can't see anything else. You kind of like really think visually. It's very interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. Although, mind you, I didn't enjoy college either. I know I said it already. I didn't enjoy school or college for different reasons.
Yeah,
But generally, I think like structures. Yeah, I'm just crap in those environments.
I'm
I
not
don't know.
good at
Maybe
being taught things that I'm not interested in learning at that point.
I know. I just immediately lose interest.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really yeah. Also, I'm not very good with people. Like I'm good with people, but I'm very much a typical only child type of person. There's like I get frustrated in group situations if I'm not immediately in charge, and that's such a like it's a really stupid way of being, but I can't help it. I spent
yeah,
years working on it and being more easygoing. Sorry, it's the dog shaking.
yeah. That's fine. So is
um,
that a struggle for your husband?
Oh yes, he's a saint. He's an absolute saint. Yeah, but he's the opposite character. He grew
Yeah,
up with a big, loud Irish family. Well, he's half English, half Irish. His dad is English, but he's very much very patient and very like his mind is very structured, and that's why he does all my emails and he does all the taxes and he does all the I just make a mess.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. It works. Yeah.
So how are things over there in Portugal? Like I was just saying, things here are starting to kind of come. I don't want to say normal, but open up, and
Yeah.
restaurants are starting to open. It has it affected your art at all?
Yes, and that it completely stopped it. And this whole thing, it didn't completely stop it. I always am productive, but not
Yeah,
in the way that I would imagine I would be under a lockdown situation. Because, you have this whole thing of, you have all this time and space. You have no choice but to better yourself. And no, you just feel really fucking lonely. Sorry for swearing.
no, that's fine.
But yeah.
I told you that we have that
I know,
label. It's
okay, but
fine.
no,
Yeah,
like, I know, but now I'm self-conscious about
yeah,
it. But yeah, you just feel so isolated. And I for me, it wasn't even the isolation that like, I can't physically see, talk to somebody. I really miss watching people, because as I said, I'm not like amazing with generally being like chatty and stuff.
Yeah.
But I really love being around people and just watching people. I'll usually like sit on a bench and pretend to read a book, so nobody will talk to me. But really, I'm just like looking at people, and like I like it, And yeah, I really missed like the streets being so empty and stuff. It was it was hard. And
Yeah.
it's very hard on relationships as well.
Oh, I've
Isolation
been
is
hearing that. Yeah.
not good. Yeah, it is not good. Although no, we did amazing. Like it's
Yeah.
not, and we both work from home, so frankly, not that much has changed.
Yeah.
But it's I was really always thinking about, you know, people living with their husbands and wives or boyfriends and girlfriends or children, and it must be
Yeah.
hard.
Oh, well,
Um,
I'm divorced, so my kids live with
okay.
their mother. So for me, it's not so bad. I mean,
Oh, you have a grand.
honestly, it's, I don't know. I don't know which would be worse because it's very difficult because I am divorced. I'm
You miss
single.
people. And,
Yeah, so I'm
yeah.
super miss people. And I'm
Oh
very
God, you're
social.
being
Yeah,
single under lockdown. Oh
yeah,
no.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
really hard.
I also haven't seen my kids in 3 months. So it's
Oh,
like,
Jesus, it's 3 months. That's
yeah,
true. Because
yes. So
I
I was
think it was less for us.
right
Because we're
before.
like super.
I'm sorry, right
Sorry.
before you got on, I was actually texting with my kids because we're just starting to. So their mother's, this is so convoluted. Their mother's new husband's family is high risk. So,
Oh, so you
so
cannot
I still
see
have
your
to be
children
very
because
careful. Yeah.
yeah.
So we're
Oh
making plans now
no.
to go out, and now it's nice weather, so you can kind of keep distance and not be kind of
Yeah.
like locked in a room. So I think we're gonna go for a hike and like a picnic, and
Oh, that's nice. But
yeah.
yeah, that's really hard. Like I think like socially this had like I think it had a really, really big effect on people. And a whole different thing as well is mental health.
Mm,
Like I think like I always talk about mental health because I have I don't know, do you know, I have because I always have it written down, and I have borderline personality disorder.
okay.
Um so I kind of really, and I could never really like afford therapy, so I had to kind of work it out myself, and I'm good
Hmm.
at it now by talking about it. But yeah, I always think about people like with different like mental issues, because being isolated is the single worst thing that can happen, because you
Oh,
literally have
absolutely.
nothing to snap you out of it. Because if I get really bad, either like psychotic or whatever, the best thing to do is to like go and see someone, so you have to pretend to be okay,
Hmm.
or so you like wash your hair and kind of put a smile on. It actually physically just makes you better. But if you have no way of going anywhere, it's just, I'd say it's really hard and dangerous.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Well, we
But
do talk a lot about mental disorders and stuff a lot on this podcast because I feel that creativity is a way that people with emotional
work it
disorders
out
and
or
stuff work it out.
channel it. Like
So I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like we
very
all
much so.
suffer. I
Yeah,
do have esteem issues and depression, and
yeah,
so the lockdown's been really trying because part of one of the things that has made it better for me is I live in downtown Plymouth, and there is a huge community down here, and within like 3 blocks of my house, there's, I don't know, 40 bars and restaurants, give or take.
yeah,
So if I get depressed, I kind of just venture out and I go
yeah.
and I
Just
know enough people where I find someone and it kind of,
yeah, just saying hello even is
yeah.
enough to kind of you get like energy from people. Somebody just smiling at you kind of
Hmm.
makes you feel better.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of tough because that doesn't really exist anymore. And the first time kind of
Yeah.
venturing out was last Saturday? Yeah, it was last Saturday. A friend of mine had come down and we went and we grabbed a bite to eat and went to a brewery and kind of sat and
Yeah.
had a beer and ran into some friends. It was really nice to get back to that.
Yeah, no, it's really, yeah, it's really important. Also, it gives you kind of context to life. Sometimes you need that. I don't know. For me personally, I feel sometimes I just need to go and like feel like I'm in like a different context, not
Yeah.
just of my own head. Sometimes you need to see how other people respond to you, not just how you respond to yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That kind
Because
of.
I think you're way worse to yourself than other people are to you.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that depends on which relationship you're
I
talking about, because
suppose that's
there's
true.
some.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as a general rule, I think so too. Yeah, but overall, to be honest, the lockdown has not been too bad on me. I
Yeah.
feel very privileged and lucky because I have a nice studio, I have my husband, I have lots of friends, and kind of to call and chat, and like it hasn't been too bad.
Yeah.
Um, but it has like paused my work for like the first month of it. I
Hmm.
was just
Yeah, it's weird.
watching Netflix.
You have so much time
Yeah.
and I get less done, and I don't understand how
Yeah.
that is. Um, like I was telling you, we were running a Zoom event last night, and I was eating my dinner as people were coming into the Zoom because I have all the time in the world, but I'm not getting anything done. It's bizarre. Um,
Yeah.
do you, when you're struggling with your disorder, do you find you work more? Do you work less? Do you make art that you don't show
That really
people?
depends. Kind of, but do you know the work that I make when I'm in bad mental states, or it's not good and bad as well. I kind of figured it out that like for me, it is all good depending on how you deal with it within your like not even with how you deal with it at all, but with your environment. So if you have a loving environment, if you're
Hmm.
lucky enough to have a kind of a space to kind of live through a certain patch of not being okay, it can actually be quite an enriching experience. I always compare it to being like on drugs, because when you
Yeah.
have like a psychotic episode that's particularly heavy, you're just kind of loopy, and I don't take any pills for it,
Yeah.
so I just kind of go with it. And if it's once you stop weeping, it gets really interesting. You start seeing things. I get like with borderline in particular, you feel very. I always describe it as like not having skin. You kind of feel everything way too much, but good and
Hmm.
bad. You kind of feel everything. It gets really overwhelming, but it's not necessarily bad. So it is bad if you are in an environment that doesn't, make it easier. But if you're okay, yeah, it's very good for art, and that's usually where I produce my best work.
Yeah.
And the work that I produce when I am the most happy and healthy and being my best self, I usually afterwards look at it and go, oh, that's a bit basic. I'm just not. Yeah, it's I
That
don't know.
that totally reminds
I
me
don't know.
of there's a British TV show called Spaced. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Oh, I remember Spaced. Wow, that's the 90s. I remember
Yeah.
Spaced. That's all the cool editing with the
Yeah.
like. Yeah, I
But
remember. I
there was
haven't seen it in
there was an
years.
artist that lived in the basement, and he was always
Yeah.
like super depressed, and then he got a girlfriend and he couldn't create art anymore.
That's exactly it. The worst thing for art is being
Yeah.
too happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that conversation with my mum actually today in the morning. She was saying that, yeah, you had a shit time in school, and so did she. And she said, but she read more books and she did more drawing, and if she was happy, she would. So it's
I
not all
think it
bad. I
also
think
gives
everything is
you more.
shade of gray.
Yeah, I think it gives you more abilities to handle life too, because I feel
Very
like the
much
people
so.
who had a great time in school tend to try and
Replicate that for the rest of their
yeah,
life.
over here we call them
Yes.
townies. They're the people who never move out of town, and they're
Yeah.
38 wearing their high school football jacket, and you're just
I
kind of
know,
like,
going to the reunions. I
yeah.
know, I know exactly. Yeah, no, it's interesting. But I had I went to because I moved to Ireland when I was 13 from
Mhm.
Poland with my mum, and I in Poland at the time I was in a windsurfing club and I was really independent and had a dog and I was like cycling everywhere and I was mad into Dungeons and Dragons and it was like super cool
Talking my
life.
language right there.
Yeah, and then listen, at 13, moved to Ireland, and I went to all girls convent school
Ooh,
with no English. I didn't speak any English.
yeah,
And it was just girls suddenly. Like in Poland, I was friends with all the guys because I was a tomboy and
yeah,
suddenly uniform, like little grey socks and proper nuns. Like I was being made much Passion of the Christ and I had to like say, prayers after every, it was proper,
yeah.
hardcore, and it was bad 5 years. I was so depressed. It was
And Dungeons
very
and Dragons
lonely.
is the devil's game.
I know. Yeah, and then straight from that, I went to art college, talking about contrast.
Man.
Yeah. And yeah, it was a big contrast. And Willem, who's my husband now, was drag queen when I met him. Um, so yeah, it's interesting, contrasts in life.
Do you still play Dungeons and Dragons?
Occasionally, yes. Well, we can never find anybody who will like consistently meet with us.
Yeah.
Do you know? So and also like, yeah, and we don't do it well. I think I keep feeling that we're doing it wrong.
I don't think you can
I
do
think
it
we need
wrong.
somebody. That's true, but like in terms of rules,
Yeah.
Willem's really like into drawing like little diagrams and doing all the things properly, and I'm get distracted after 5 minutes, but I still really love it, but like I think he kind of altered the game for like me, and we played with Kaya. By the way, I have a boyfriend as well as a husband, like
Okay.
we're doing a polyamorous
Polyamorous type thing. Yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
So yeah. So, and Kaya, who's lovely and is my boyfriend, that's who we play Dungeons and Dragons with. And he is very similar to me in that he gets distracted very quickly and just
Mhm.
we just start fighting with each other while Willem's trying to keep
Yeah,
peace
I
in the
think
game
that's
and
exactly how
structure.
everyone else plays the game.
I wonder, but I've never,
Yeah.
since I was 13, I've not been in a successful, Dungeons and Dragons situation.
So I
We
used
kind
to
of carried
play.
on.
Yeah, I played a lot as a kid and like in my 20s. And then as it kind of resurged and it became popular again, I had friends of mine who were like, "Oh, we want to play, we want to play." And most of them hadn't played or hadn't played in years. And so I became the default DM. And it reminded me there's a podcast called, I think it's called Dungeons, Dragons, and Daughters or something like that. And it's a guy, he's
Okay.
playing with his two 8-year-old daughters.
That's
And
so cool.
yeah, and everyone who listens to it, they're like, "Oh my god, everyone plays the same," and it becomes like infighting, or someone's trying to steal this from the
Yeah.
other person, or
Okay, so it's not
let's
just
burn
me.
it down.
Yeah, it's like, okay, can I kill you?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, no, it's yeah, but it's great fun. It's
yeah.
really nice, and lots of board games as well. Like we have all the like Netrunner. Have you played Netrunner ever?
Netrunner, no, I haven't heard of that.
It's the same guys. The same guys made it who did Magic the Gathering.
Okay,
So it's like the nerdy version, and it's basically one person
sorry, it's the
plays
nerdy
the
version of
corporation.
Magic.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
One person plays the corporation and the other person plays the hacker, and it's like totally different from each side. And you have to like hack into
Oh.
this. It's so cool.
Have
But
you played
yeah, it's really cool.
like cooperative games like I hate to say it, but Pandemic?
But no, oh god, no, I haven't. But I heard of it. No,
Yeah,
I've heard
it
of it.
is a lot of fun because everyone plays against the game itself.
Yeah,
So that it's
that's
good for
interesting.
teamwork, but then it then becomes a lot of like arguing, being like, no, you need to do this, and you know,
Oh no, but games are so much fun. And Mysterium is another one that's really
I've heard
cool.
of that one. Yeah,
Yeah, you're like playing the ghosts and it's all like really weird stuff. And yeah, and Catan and all the usual ones as well,
yeah.
obviously. Yeah, but
My
it's
I'm very much into board games, and it kind of became from being a divorced dad. Because it's a
interesting
great way to kind of
of
connect with my
socializing.
kids, and
Yeah,
it's something special that they play board games at home, but not Sorry and Monopoly and stuff like that. But
yeah. No, it's a different. There's board games and there's board games. Like
right,
there's
yeah.
a, yeah. No,
Um,
absolutely.
and so it's really become a great tool for me to kind of get to know my kids better. And I felt like, hey, I might be doing a good thing here. I can't remember what we were playing, but someone won. Oh no, I think that one I won, and my kids were like, "Well, can we continue playing to see who gets second?" And I realized they didn't care about winning; they just liked playing.
That's really
Yeah, so I
nice.
thought that was really sweet.
Oh,
But now
that's
they're old
really
enough, when
lovely.
they win, I tell them they're adopted, and stuff like that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm terrible. We play Risk a lot, actually. Do you ever play
Oh yeah,
Risk?
yeah.
Yeah, and like Willem's saying, honey, relax. It's just a game. It's like, no, it is war.
Have you ever played
I get
Diplomacy?
really no, but I imagine I'd be terrible at it. I'm really
Uh,
not diplomatic.
it is the
I
game
take
to lose game to lose friends too.
friends. Okay, yeah, because I take everything very personally.
Yeah.
Awful. Yeah,
So it's very
it's so
similar
much
to
fun.
Risk, but between each turn, um, you are allowed to have like diplomatic meetings with people and be like, hey, if you help me against Steve, I'll help you over here against
Yeah,
Susie.
yeah, yeah.
But
Okay, so
there's nothing holding
that's
you to your word, so you can do whatever you want.
oh, that's amazing. Because
Yeah.
like I know, cause, like in Risk, we always call it like you can't go to pee. If you go to the bathroom, there'll be like an alliance formed. So
Yeah.
everybody like just nobody pees. Yeah, well, it's great fun. And that's, by the way, one big thing that got us through the
Quarantine.
lockdown. Yes, Jesus, every night playing Risk, because there's nothing else to do. But it was, it's good. But just to answer your original question, in Portugal,
I
it
forgot what
feels
it was, to
kind
be
of
honest with
normal.
you.
Oh, you were asking about you're asking about the lockdown. You're
Oh, right,
asking
right,
about the
right.
lockdown,
Yeah.
and like the last month, it feels like it's a new normal,
Yep.
and it doesn't feel anymore like it is a new stage, the kind of like when something opens and it feels like it's a new stage. Now it feels like a very organic new way of existing. So everything's open, everybody just has loads of masks. They became such a big item. Now I
Hmm.
have like 5 of them like on hat stands before leaving the house, and you just kind of, yeah, it's just, yeah, everything's back, not to normal but to like new normal, but
Yeah,
it's very
as
much like
normal as it's gonna get.
settled in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but everything's, it's good, it's nice. I think there is no going back. And I think it really changed. Like I think the pandemic really changed people's like perception of a lot of things. So for instance, like I think nightlife is never going to be the same. I'm thinking of all the clubbing I did, and what a like dangerous environment, and like how not hygienic it is.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think like a lot of things were kind of really change. Um, yeah.
I feel like I don't know about there, but here, the idea of the ignorant American isn't necessarily wrong. Um, no one knows that more than us Americans. Um, but I was talking with a friend of mine who owns a restaurant downtown, and I said to him, I feel like in a year and a half, we're going to be hanging out, having a beer, and we're going to look around and be like, I think things are back to normal. So I think it's going to be such a gradual, slow burn
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, that is true. I
Yeah.
mean, like, yeah, I don't know. Jeez, like, yeah, America is so different. It seems so different,
Oh my
and
God.
so
Sometimes I wish we weren't.
no, but it's so interesting because the language is the same, and like it feels so close because of all the movies and shows, and like it's so close. It's
Yeah.
like mentally, I don't know, like it feels culturally close, but it is so different as well. Like it feels different. Then you like watch the news or hear things, and yeah, it's just different. It's really interesting,
We're
and
sorry. We're sorry.
no, it's just interesting. Yeah, but it is wild. It is wild. This year is particularly wild.
Yeah. I mean,
Mind you, I don't look at the news. Because I get really like affected by
I
news
give
generally. So
myself like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And when I get up, I kind of just be like, all right, what shitstorm happened while I wasn't looking?
yeah,
And kind of go, all right, I don't care about that. Oh, that's mildly interesting, but more of a, gossipy kind of way. But, and just kind of go, all right, that's it. I have been kind of um, keeping my distance from social media.
yeah.
It just
Well,
makes
I
me
mean,
angry.
like with news in particular, you need to draw a line on how much you can let in
Hmm.
to your like mental sphere at any which given time for it to be in some way productive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I noticed that it's very easy to watch the news and you kind of absorb it in, but you realize then that just you can't really act on it in any particular way, and then you end up just like acting out by like shouting at your dog and feeling sorry or something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's yeah, there's a kind of a fine line to kind of balance it. So news in particular, I really can't do. I get really upset, but I listen to podcasts to stay on top of like world stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think
Uh,
it's a much kind of a milder, a nice kind of a more.
you know, and this is my big thing about news, and I wish, there's always like, well, if I was in charge, um, I would do away with ratings for newscast.
Ratings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the only thing that they're trying to do is to keep you watching.
Yeah.
So they'll tell you whatever
Oh,
you want to hear.
just so they, but to me, it's such an alien concept. I had to like think a minute and be like, what do you mean ratings? Because like, I don't even
Oh,
know
do you
if
not
there's a
have
thing
ratings
over here.
over there?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Uh,
There was the 7 o'clock news, but I don't, it's very different.
yeah,
Yeah. And you have like one channel that does the news. But frankly, I mean, I don't know because I don't have a telly.
yeah,
So I just read
yeah.
the
I
news.
I barely, I'll watch
But the TV
Netflix.
culture type thing is just not really a thing here. But I might be wrong. I might be being maybe I just don't know about
Oh,
it.
that's
So is it
hey,
the dog
it's good that
choking?
you're. Oh, poor dog.
No, she does it for attention.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I brought her to the vet once. That's a long anecdote. Don't worry, I won't get
Yeah,
into it. But yeah, she does choking for attention.
yeah.
Apparently, dogs do it.
She's cute though. All dogs
Oh,
should get
she is.
attention. I'm very much a dog person. So
Really? But you have
yeah.
a cat?
Oh, it's my housemate's cat.
Oh, okay. So you have to put up with the cat.
Yeah, there's two of them, but they look
Yeah.
identical,
Okay.
and I don't
So
know
it
which
might.
one's which.
So it might just be one cat at any given
No,
time.
I've seen them together.
Okay.
So there's definitely two. When I first moved in, I was sitting at the dining room table, and they were both like perched on this chair, and all I could think of was the twins from The Shining.
Oh my God, yes. I've been meaning to rewatch that actually because yeah, I haven't seen it in a while and I just thought it might be a terrible idea during the lockdown to watch it because we're kind of going through all the classics.
Yeah.
But this is one that is just not probably a bad idea.
So what have you been watching during the lockdown?
What have I been watching? I've just finished watching Space Force.
What'd you think?
You know what? I thought it was just like sitting on a veranda on a mild day with just like a delicate breeze and it's not strong, it's not weak, it's
Hmm.
just mellow and you just kind of keep watching it because it's not upsetting me, but it's not particularly hilarious and I found it interesting. I got into it with time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's life changing, but I think it is very nice. I really enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
don't. It's a kind of a.
I liked it a
What do you
lot,
mean?
and I think it's one
Yeah.
of those things that will get better because I feel like a lot of really good sitcoms, when you go back and you watch the first season, you're like, "Ooh, this isn't
But
great."
it's not. It was not ha funny, but it
Right.
like brings you into the world of like.
Hmm.
I don't know. There's few shows. Another one's Joe Pera Talks to You. Have you ever watched that?
What was it, Joe? What?
Joe Pera Talks to You, and it is.
No, I
I
never
think
heard
there's
of it.
2 seasons. It is so lovely. I'll forward it to you in an email
Oh
because
yeah,
it's,
yeah,
it's it is wonderful, and it is also the same kind of. It is not technically comedy, even though
yeah,
it is. It's just like soft and lovely and smooth, and just you feel kind of safe and nice watching it. You feel like you
yeah.
don't need to engage too much, but it is so sweet and lovely. Yeah. So yeah, there's few things we've been watching.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
thank God
thought
for Netflix.
I thought John Malkovich in Space Force though was amazing. Like
Oh, it
without
was
him,
amazing.
yeah,
I know that he carried the show.
yeah,
It's so
absolutely.
good. No, in retrospect, it's a really nice show. It's a kind of show. It kind of sticks with you, in a weird way. I don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah, we really enjoyed it.
yeah. I'm looking forward to the next season.
Yes. I never even thought of the next season, but that's true.
Well,
There will be
it
a next
ends on
season
a super
because it's a
cliffhanger.
lockdown. I know it. I know it
Yeah.
does. It does. It's just a lockdown. I always assume nothing gets. I kind of give up. I just think that nothing gets filmed. Do you know what I mean? But
Oh
obviously it
yeah, yeah,
will.
yeah.
Yeah. I
It'll
don't
be a
know.
while before they do though, because I mean that's
Yeah.
um. So one thing that's a major part, and this kind of made me think of people getting together to film, but is gallery shows. So obviously you
Oh,
haven't done gallery
I
shows.
know. Listen, like the month that like in March, I
Yeah.
was supposed to have a big solo show
Hmm.
in like nice part of Porto, and I had it all worked out, and it was all like I was ready, and then everything just shut down. But I'll have it in September, which is good.
Okay.
but all the work that I did was like specific for spring, and now
Oh,
everything else
now it's gonna
happened.
be
So it was
fall.
this kind of like, yeah, it's like not relevant anymore. But also everything I do, I kind of hate recycling work. Like
Hmm.
that's partially why I do street art, because when I make something, I need to get it away from me so I can do the new thing, so I can get it away. If I look at something that I've done for too long, I just pick at it, and it's yeah, I just need to keep doing new stuff. So I'll have to figure something out. And I have two shows in September. I have another one in Paris,
Oh, nice.
in a new gallery. So it's, yeah, but it's not it's a group show, so
Yeah.
it's not, you know. But yeah, looking
Has
forward
there
to that.
been, because I know a lot of musicians have been performing live on the internet. Has there been some sort of virtual gallery
Virtual galleries.
shows or?
I don't really know. Probably, yeah, I think so. I don't really know. I mean, like, what I do is I'm quite active on Instagram in that I
Mhm.
always post me painting.
Yeah.
So kind of like that's how I deal with it. But that's what I always done, anyways. You know, I kind of like I like Instagram. I like Instagram posting things. But yeah. But I don't know about virtual things.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure there was some. But it's not the same. You need to see stuff in
Oh
real
yeah.
life.
It's
Oh, like
no
you
way.
know, yeah, it's just not the same. But yeah,
I
we'll see.
remember
September is the time.
there was friends of mine who put out an art annual, and each one had 12 local artists, and there was one in there, and I'm gonna blank on his name. Damn it. But I looking in the book, his work, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. He did like um typical Mexican themes, um, but in a traditional Japanese look to it. So it's like luchadors,
Okay,
but look like old paintings of samurais.
cool.
And
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh yeah, these are cool, whatever. And then I saw an actual show that I went to a gallery show that he did. Just the
No, it's a different.
detail. Oh my god, it was totally different. I
Yeah.
went from being like, oh, is this
No,
fine, to be
yeah.
like,
Like
this
it's
is amazing. Yeah.
no, but like for me, like art is like the image is like the smallest part of it. It's
Hmm.
like that. I'm being really pretentious now, but like I really think like A, it's about the process of the making, and B, it's about like the physical presence of the object, and like the actual just like printed image is just the least important part, I think, of the experience
Yeah.
of art. Although it really depends on. I mean, if we're talking about illustration, then probably not. It depends on the type of art we're talking about.
Right.
But yeah, but the physical presence is very important, I think. Yeah.
So are you looking to forward to getting back out and putting up more art in the public, or?
Oh, I already have.
Oh, you already have. I see.
Oh
It's
yeah.
such a.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
not waiting for anything. No, like Jesus, like I've
Did you go out
painted
during the
two.
lockdown at all? To
It was at night.
not asking you to
Oh,
blink twice if you did.
you know what? Like I have at the very, very end. So basically, actually, my first street art run, proper one, was on the night of 1st of June. So it was the day, 1st of June was the day that stuff like reopened, like the pubs reopened and the
Yeah.
restaurants reopened. So it was like the big day of, obviously all the restrictions were still there, but it was like, that's when it kind of started being nicer to be around. So that night I went and I painted, actually in one day, I painted this 3 by 4 meters mural depicting, it's actually, yeah, I'm not doing like positive work, which I feel like maybe I should, but it's called the Summer Apocalypse, and it's like this big skeleton with a boner riding a horse in like fields of flowers. But and then like so
Well,
I put
flowers are
that up.
positive.
I know, right? Yeah, and I put that up on that night, and another big mural, which is like it's called the flower bed. And it's like this pile of skulls and flowers. I like skulls and flowers, and it's like this big gold massive painting. So that was my first night, and then since then I went to Lisbon actually because I needed to renew my passport, and I did a big run over there, loads of
Nice.
paintings and stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of I really like doing it, So
Yeah.
I kind of Yeah, I go
I feel
anyways. I
like a
need to.
lot of artists like to draw skulls, and I don't know why that is.
Do you know, I think it's the most basic like depiction of yourself on the in a basic form. I think everybody has this kind of fixation of the fact that we're just made of bones and flesh, you know.
Yeah.
So I think everybody kind of. I think there's few like simple things that people subconsciously go back to. Because when you look at like medieval art and stuff, it's all skulls as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's like people just naturally go there.
I found it very
Yeah.
interesting when I was in like junior high and high school. I drew a lot of skulls and skeletons because I was big into heavy metal, and the
Mm,
imagery was very positive, not positive, but very
yeah.
prominent. And
Yeah.
as I went through high school, they kind of like, well, try still lifes, and I got more into other things. And then freshman year in college, they're like, we're gonna sit down and draw skulls, and you're like,
So
oh,
wonderful.
okay, yeah,
Yeah, no, but the connotations, I mean, there's just so many connotations to the same image that, it's about the personal approach. Because for me, it's always, I used to not draw skulls until 2 years ago, really. And for me, it goes into this like sense of like, we're all going to die and that's what's inside.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so that's my kind of approach. But yeah, it's interesting. And it is everybody's drawing skulls. But
awesome.
yeah, I draw, yeah.
Well,
But,
now we have to do kind of the closing part. So, Barry, where can people go? I
aw.
know, right? It goes by so fast. Where can people go online to find your work?
Well, Instagram, Berri Blue, Berri.blue, and Berry is spelled with an I, not
So
O-I.
BERRI.
Yes, dot blue.
Yeah.
And my website, berryblue.com, which I
Awesome.
need to update a little bit, but there's stuff there and all the contacts and all the exhibitions and all that.
Yeah, it's funny. That's that's where I contacted you, and it's kind of funny how I decided to contact you. So,
How did you find me?
so this is the interesting thing. We have on our Facebook page, we run 4 posts daily. We have a daily photo challenge, a daily drawing challenge, and I'll usually post like some sort of weird artsy creative article that I find. And I think today's was a guy that built like a miniature old west town for his chickens.
It's amazing.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Cool.
But then at noon every day, I try to post art, and I just call it, daily art. And sometimes I pick a theme for the month, and sometimes I don't. And it's just kind of to expose people to get art out there in front of people. Yeah. And last month I did all street artists. Cool. So I just looked up a list of street artists, and I'd be like, oh, let's post, something from Banksy and something from this person, and crediting everybody, of course. And I stumbled across your name on the list, and I was interested, and then your website popped up, and I'm like, oh, let's reach out and see what happens. And
yeah,
so that's how we stumbled across you.
Nice. Cool.
So,
well, I'm glad you found me.
Yeah, this was a blast. Anytime I can talk about like dyslexia and board games.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. But yeah. No, thanks for having me.
No problem. It was a lot of fun, and thanks to our listeners, and we'll see you guys again next week.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. You can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art, except for Instagram, we're at Inebri-art6. You can email us with your questions, complaints, and whatnot at Inebri-art@yahoo.com. And if you're looking for more podcasts, you can check out the other podcasts on our network, Retro Redoctopus, America's Hometown Horror, and, of course, Bar Talk, Old Colony, and Inebri-art Podcast, the original. So check those out and subscribe and comment so we can reach more people, and thanks for listening.